Good morning, all. Today we will be doing portfolio selection theories, and in that, the first theory is Harry Markowitz model. In the past, many attempts have been made to make portfolio selection theories, and out of these numerous theories, the two most important ones are portfolio theory and capital market theory. The portfolio theory was given by Harry Markowitz in 1952, and the theory deals with how to select an optimum portfolio. An optimum portfolio is one which is maximizing returns at the investor's accepted level of risk, right? So Harry Markowitz explains how to select this optimum portfolio out of the given efficient portfolios. Another theory, capital market theory, it was given by William Sharpe. William Sharpe basically gave capital asset pricing model, and the model deals with how capital assets are priced in the efficient market conditions, right? So today we are doing portfolio theory given by Harry Markowitz. The portfolio theory was given by him in 1952, and it deals with selection of optimum portfolio. Before development of this theory, the basic motive behind creation of portfolio was diversification of risk. We have done the line, don't put all the eggs in one basket. So this was the main motive of creation of portfolio. But Harry Markowitz explained that portfolio construction should not only be to diversify the risk, but also to maximize the return. So he was the first person who showed through his theory that how portfolio selection or selection of optimum portfolio, it not only reduces the risk but also optimizes the return. Regarding this theory, the theory is based on some assumptions. Some of the assumptions of the theory, they are investors are basically risk averse, that means they try to avoid risk if possible. Portfolios, these can be analyzed in terms of risk and return. Then Harry Markowitz, he assumed that decision regarding selection of portfolio, it is purely based on expected returns and risk. That means other factors in investment like taxation or liquidity, these are not to be considered. Portfolio is to be selected only and only on the basis of risk and return of the portfolio. And because of this reason, the theory is also known as mean variance model. We know return is measured through arithmetic mean and risk is measured through variances or standard deviation. Because this model is totally based on portfolio risk and return, the model is also known as mean variance model, right? This is given below here also. Then the next assumption is that investor is a rational investor. Rational investor, that means he will always try to maximize his return at the given level of risk. For convenience purpose, the assumption has been made that all the investors, they have common investment horizon, and that investment horizon is one period investment horizon. Now, based on these assumptions, Harry Markowitz explained how to select an optimum portfolio using 5 steps. These 5 steps are finding expected risk and return of the portfolio. Then all these risk and return of different portfolios, this is to be plotted on a graph paper known as XY plane. Out of these attainable portfolios, in third step, efficient portfolios are selected. Then selection of optimum portfolio out of these efficient portfolios, it depends upon risk return preference of the investor. For that, indifference curve map is selected, and using efficient frontier and indifference curve map, in the last step, optimum portfolio is selected, right? So one by one, these steps we will be doing. The first step is finding risk and return of all attainable or feasible portfolios. In the previous chapter, we have done how to calculate risk and return in case of two securities portfolio. In the same way, if n securities are there in the portfolio, methods are there to calculate risk and return. So using these methods, risk and return of each feasible portfolio is calculated. You know, if n number of securities are there in the portfolio, with these n number of securities, you can create large number, rather infinite number of portfolios. And for each portfolio, risk and return is there. Each of these portfolios is called attainable or feasible portfolio. So first step is finding risk and return of all attainable or feasible portfolios. Then in next step, we plot all feasible portfolios on a graph. On x-axis, you have to take risk of the portfolio, that means standard deviation. On y-axis, you have to take expected return of the portfolio. Each combination of risk and return, that means each portfolio, is to be plotted on the graph. Now, research shows that if n number of securities are there in the portfolio and we plot risk and return of each possible portfolio on the graph, the shape that we get is somewhat like an umbrella or broken egg shape, right? This kind of shape is there. See, on x-axis, we have taken standard deviation. On y-axis, expected return of the portfolio. If we plot all attainable portfolios, then the shape that we get is this AGHA shape. This is umbrella shape, or you can say broken egg shape. The shaded figure AGHA, this shows all attainable portfolio. Each point on this shape is one attainable portfolio, right? Now, out of these attainable portfolios, the next step is to find efficient portfolios. Now, how to find efficient portfolio? As I have explained earlier also, that out of risk and return, you can select one. Suppose you have selected one level of return, this is your expected return. Now, all the portfolios having that expected return, you will be taking. Out of these portfolios, you will take the one which has lowest risk, right? We are assuming that investor is risk averse, that means he tries to minimize his risk. So out of the portfolios with equal expected return, an investor would prefer one which has lower risk or lowest risk, you can say. And out of the portfolios which have same degree of risk, an investor will prefer one which has highest expected return. We have presumed that investor is rational, and rational investor always tries to maximize his return. Now see how this is done in the diagram. See this diagram. We can take some levels of risk. This is first level of risk, sigma 1. Now see, for this level of risk, in the shaded region, these are the feasible portfolios. Out of these feasible portfolios, the maximum return is at this point, right? All other portfolios, they are giving you lower return. In the same way, at the risk level sigma 2, the maximum return is at this point. All other portfolios are giving lower return. So this is the efficient portfolio at the risk level sigma 2, and this is the efficient portfolio at risk level standard deviation 1. In the same way, you can take some levels of returns. See, this is ER1. For ER1, these are the feasible portfolios. Out of these portfolios, this portfolio is giving you lowest risk. All the points to the right of this point, they are giving higher risk. In the same way, at ER2, this point is the lowest risk point at this level of return. All other points to the right of this point, they are giving you more risk. In this way, you can see that all the efficient portfolios, they will lie on the arc AGH. So this arc AGH, which consists of efficient portfolios, This is known as efficient frontier, right? So out of all the feasible portfolios, efficient portfolios, they lie on the arc AGH. The AGH is called efficient frontier. Now we have selected efficient portfolios. Now from these efficient portfolios, for selection of an optimum portfolio, we require indifference curves. Keep this thing in mind. For all the investors having same securities in their portfolio, the efficient frontier will be same, because we are assuming that all the investors are risk averse and all the investors are rational. So if 20 investors are there having same securities in their portfolio, for all of them efficient frontier will be same, but their optimum portfolio may be different depending upon their risk return preference, right? This is written here. The efficient frontier is same for all the investors because we assume that all of them are risk averse and they are rational. Out of the efficient portfolios lying on efficient frontier, an individual investor will select one which is optimum for him given his risk return preferences. Now, how to check risk return preferences of the investor? For that, we use indifference curves. In economics also, you have done indifference curves. An indifference curve shows same level of satisfaction or utility to the investor, and higher the indifference curve, more is the level of satisfaction. The difference here is that in economics, indifference curves are downward sloping, because if two commodities are there, we are consuming more of one, then lesser of other will be there. So inverse relationship is there in these two commodities. But here we are considering risk and return. In risk and return, we know risk return trade-off. Positive relationship is there. Higher the risk, more is the expected return. That's why for a risk averse investor, the indifference curve is always upward sloping, right? So for selection of optimum portfolio, we use indifference curve. Each investor has a map of indifference curve. It shows different combinations of risk and return which provide same level of utility or satisfaction to the investor. So at a particular point of time, if we consider one indifference curve, all the points on that indifference curve, they are given because same level of utility to the investor, and an investor is indifferent among these points. That means he may select any one of these points on one single indifference curve. Here you can see the indifference curve map for the investor. Indifference curves are upward sloping for risk averse investor. Higher indifference curves, they show more utility. You can see these points regarding indifference curves. An investor may have infinite number of these curves, but these never intersect each other. This way do in economics also. For risk averse investor, the indifference curves are always upward sloping because of risk return trade-off. Higher indifference curves are more desirable. Reason being, higher indifference curves give you more satisfaction. So these are more desirable than lower indifference curves. And slope of indifference curve may vary from investor to investor depending upon his risk preference. Keep this thing in mind. For all, indifference curve will be upward sloping, but slope of the curve may differ from investor to investor depending upon his risk return preference, right? Now regarding selection of optimum portfolio, we have done efficient frontier and indifference curve. For selection of efficient portfolio, we need to merge these two. An efficient portfolio occurs at a point where one of the indifference curve is tangent on the efficient frontier. This tangency point gives you the optimum portfolio point. At this point, highest level of satisfaction to the investor is there, right? So we are combining indifference curves with efficient frontier. See this way. At point E, IC3 is tangent on the efficient frontier. So this tangency point E, this gives you the optimum portfolio point for this investor. This point gives maximum satisfaction to the investor in given circumstances. Now we can verify this also by taking some more points. Now see point A and C. These are on the efficient frontier. That means portfolio A and C, these are also efficient portfolios. But because they are on lower indifference curve, these will give lesser satisfaction. So these should not be selected. Take one point on higher indifference curve. Take this point B. This is on IC4. That means this will give more satisfaction than point E. But this is outside the feasible region, outside this broken egg shaped figure. So this is unattainable portfolio. This cannot be selected. So in given circumstances, point E, this gives you the optimum portfolio. So optimum portfolio is one where one of the indifference curve is tangent on the efficient frontier. Now keep this thing in mind, that efficient frontier comprises of large number of portfolios. Selection of optimum portfolio, it depends upon the risk preference of the investor, and for knowing risk preference of the investor, we use indifference curve. So for selection of optimum portfolio, we use indifference curves and efficient frontier. Using these two, we find the optimum portfolio. Keep this thing in mind, efficient frontier may be same for many investors, but because risk preferences are different for different investors, optimum portfolios are usually different for different types of